Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a new offering from Mongoose, Traveler Clans of the Aslan. This came out a little bit before Christmas. Just going to take a look at it. It's available as PDF now for 30 bucks. The book is coming out sometime in about March or April, I'm not sure. But anyway, Clans of the Aslan. So, all about the Aslan. Okay, I love the Aslan. They're one of my favorite alien races in Traveler. And we get the table of contents. Our author today is Randy Dorman. And we get a look at the Special Imperial Interstellar Scout Service Assessment. This is an older assessment of the Aslan themselves. Some nice artwork. There's some very nice artwork in here. The Aslan look to be about 9 feet tall in some of these, but that's okay. I like a good dynamic alien. And then we get the introduction, creating Aslan campaigns. And with this book, you absolutely can create an Aslan campaign. Always in search of new lands if you're the second-born male. Human Aslan, I thought that was a nice touch. Basically, people that are cultural Aslan, but not physical Aslan. I thought that was kind of neat. And an Imperial Traveler on Kuzu. And dealing with Aslan names. I'm not going to be in this. Aslan names are, in my opinion, unpronounceable. And then we get a nice look. I liked this section, some sources of inspiration, where they actually talk about some ideas, where the ideas for the Aslan came from, which would be the Lion Men of Mongo from Flash Gordon comic strip, the Khanate of Orion from the Starfire game, and of course Larry Niven with the Kzinti. Kzinti even made it into Dragon Magazine as a playable group for D&D, around issue 45 to 50, somewhere around in there. So there you go. And then we get Aslan Travelers. We get, well, let me back up one thing. In here, we get a lot of stuff about where other stuff for Aslan is. You can go to this book and you can look this up about the Aslan. Go to this book and look. That got a little intrusive as I was reading it. There was no way to kind of get immersed in the book because I kept getting pulled out for a commercial. TSR did a lot of this in the 90s with AD&D 2nd edition, and it gets in the way. I don't mind maybe put it in a section at the end, maybe a little listing of stuff that we can go ahead and pick up that would also have further Aslan stuff. I get that. Also throughout this book there are deep references to Traveler Map. Maybe not everybody doesn't use Traveler Map. I don't know. In my opinion, if you're a Traveler fan, absolutely you should be using Traveler Map, but I don't need every single thing to be called out for how it is on Traveler Map. I think it would be better to do a Traveler Map section toward the back that tell us what some of the codes are for Aslan World and stuff like that. Just my opinion. And then we go to Aslan Traveler, or Aslan Travelers. We're going to create an Aslan character. My only objection to this is we gave up a good chunk of the book to this, and it's already been done in 4 other places. The core rulebook, 2, if you count the 2022 update. We also get it in the Aliens book that features the Aslan, and we get it in Pirates of Drinax. So I didn't want to see a lot of my page count taken up with this, but here it is. So that was one of the things I was a little worried about when I bought this book. I was a little nervous about that. But you go in, what clan your Traveler would be in, and pre-career education, and all the skills, and all kinds of stuff. We get a nice looking look at a cultural Aslan, the Marquis Sir Eniri Halt Zagfuja of Kaliga. He's basically an emissary to the Aslan. I liked this guy. That was an interesting write-up. And then we get the benefits, and we look at corporations. Corporations are very important in Aslan. The males are, of course, the warriors and are worried about pride and honor. The females are the researchers and business types. They understand the money and build the economy. And it's an interesting dynamic. The Aslan, of course, measure a person by the job they do as to whether they're male or female. If you are a gunner on a starship, you could be male or female. It really depends, and that's brought out in this book. And then we get some secret societies in the Aslan. I liked these a lot. Then we got to look at Aslan skills. I like this picture a lot, very evocative. And continuing through the Aslan skills, we get kind of just a break here. We get some Aslan gun combat weapons, which was fine. I thought it was a kind of a strange choice. I would have rather see that as a central supply section later, but that's okay. Male Aslan don't deal with indirect fire weapons, artillery, so that's a female's job. That's another example because you're firing by range and there's no honor to it. So we continue on through the Aslan skills, taking up a lot of the pages. The Psionic Aslan, we get a look at that, and then we get a high guard for the Hierate, the Aslan Hierate. That's their government, and we get the Sidaral Rift Liner. I like the look of the ships. I like the layouts. The whatever system defense boat, Dactyl transport. And I realize when I'm running Aslan, I have to deal with some of these names, but honestly, what I will usually do is show them to my players and say I'm going to pronounce this as best I can, and they usually agree with it, and then that's what we call them from that point on, or we just shorten it to something. They even talk about that in here, that sometimes it's just easier to deal with shortened names. Then we're going to look at the Hierate. This is what I bought the book for. I wanted to take a deep dive into the Hierate itself. And we get an interesting term in here called the Exo-Hierate. The idea is that you have the Hierate, which is the Aslan civilization as the Aslan know it and outsiders know it. And then we get the Exo-Hierate. Those are clans that are no longer part of the Hierate. They're on the outside, but they're still cultural Aslan or physical Aslan in most cases. So that would be ones across the Great Rift and stuff like that. Whereas Empire would be Exo-Hierate. That was pretty neat. I kind of like the look of that. This is what I really wanted. We got to look at how the worlds work and how they're named. We got to look at prides. Divided control worlds, which is interesting, the equivalent of a balkanized human world. We have multiple clans controlling the same parts of the same world. Aslan corporations. She's leaving home. A little bit of short fiction based on an old Beatles song. I liked this. I liked that there's more fiction, some quotes and such in this than there had been previously. That helps with the immersion. I like that a lot. Guide to the Aslan clans. Yes, this is what I really wanted to see. I wanted to see how the clans are, how they work. And we get a lot of named clans and how they work and how big they are and who they control and what they control. And some of these clans control tens of billions of peoples, whether Aslan human or something else. And I thought that was kind of neat. We get a look at the 29 that rule, the Tulaku, that rule the clans. And we got to look at their various power blocks, which was nice. I liked this part of the book. I was disappointed the early go was taken up with so much on how to be an Aslan traveler. I have that in other sources. So Exo-Hierate clans, and then they talk about the Glorious Empire. Glorious Empire, of course, has its own book. It's a neat little chunk of the universe, unless, of course, you're human, because they enslave humans. I like the Glorious Empire. It's a great place to do games, but you better be ready to fight. And then we continue on, the military, the ground forces, space forces, the Yerling Tral Henua War. So we get some war history here. I wish I could pronounce these words, or I wish there were more phonetic pronunciations for some of these. I found that kind of difficult in the reading. And then we go to some internal security, and then just continuing on in the major clans. I like the artwork throughout. I thought the artwork was really beautiful. And then we're creating a clan. This is pretty nice. If you want to create your own clan, there are 4,000 clans in Aslan Hierate space or Exo-Hierate space, so you can easily craft your own clan for your game. If you want to do an all Aslan campaign, this would be a good opportunity to do it, and you've got all the stuff you're going to need to create that clan. I like that a lot about this book. I love that picture, the nuclear family, if you will. And then clan rankings, other clan details, clan capitals and homeworlds. Your homeworld cannot necessarily be you running the only part of the world, but you will still have a clan homeworld city. So if it's a multi-clan planet, you're going to have multiple great cities, each representing each of the clans. I like that too, showing an Aslan with this cub, creating an Aslan leader. There's some good tips in here. This must be a spread page fighting what looked to be Zodani. Or it could be Imperial. And then we get a write-up on how to be an Aslan leader, how to create that character. I thought this was pretty cool. And then playing a clan. How are you going to play a clan? So this book is really geared toward the player that's going to be having deep, deep ties with the Aslan, either through his players playing Aslan or his group interacting with the Aslan. And I like that. It's what I bought it for. The Aslan are one of my favorite alien races in Traveller. Then we get a clan directory. I liked this one. It shows us a lot of the clans. It shows us their little iconage, which I liked a lot. What their status is, if they're a vassal clan or if they're a major clan or minor clan, multi-world clan. So I did like this. And this gives us a lot of meat. And again, I like having the little icons for each clan. So this section was probably my favorite of the book. I really enjoyed it. And then continuing through this, some more nice artwork. The artwork was very immersive. I enjoyed that. It really helped me to really get deep into the book. This section is just really fun. If your players are looking to play an Aslan campaign or an Aslan affiliate campaign, this is definitely a book you're going to want to grab. A ton of information here. So continuing on, we get little historic anecdotes in here and just little tips on how to rule. And not everything is just rules and dry as dust. There's some flavor woven into this that I really like. I found it an enjoyable read once I got to the parts that I bought it for, which is about the actual clans themselves. It is clans of the Aslan after all. And then we get the court of Yurayu. I can't say that, but this is the #1 clan in Aslan space. And we get a lot of details. So there's a lot of subterfuge and intrigue that you can perform in there, and there's a lot of good called out characters. And then continuing on to humans fighting in Aslan style. And then we get a look at Aslan worlds. And I liked this, where the Aslan are, why they are where they are. The Aslan Hierate is shown there nicely. And the Treaty of Fataral with the Third Imperium, where they created a buffer zone. That's called out very nicely here. But all the different stuff for the Aslan worlds. And then we get a nice orange peel look at one of the worlds. I like that. And then some more history. So, and then we get the Spinward Frontier, which is where I got happy because there's a section in here coming up. Nice other look at world map. Continuing through, we have a nice look at clan leader. An investigator. I can't say some of these words. I'm not even going to try it. Aslan colonies. I like the Aslan colonies. I found this a very useful part of the book because they talk about Aslan who settled for one reason or another, either on the fringe of the Hierate or completely away from the Hierate. And one of the worlds that they talk about is Avastin. And if you follow my channel, you know that that's where my, here's the Avastin section. You know that that's where my current Traveller campaign is centered. So to find out that there's about 3,500 Aslan Hierate who have settled on Avastin but have not really been able to do anything with their settlement because it's cold and they don't have any money. I thought that was pretty neat, and I got really happy about that because I thought, well, I can roll this in. So I've talked to a few of my players about it, and they're very excited to have basically trained warriors that all they have to do is equip and get transport and food, shelter for. It sounds like a lot, but you end up with basically a little militia there if you don't mind having Aslan as your militiaman. There's a write-up of the leader of this group of Hierate. I like that. I love Hierate. It's one of my favorite things about Aslan. And then we got Aslan client states. And then we get glossary and references. Very useful in this one. So you could kind of look up some stuff about, why it's this way. Or, again, I would have liked a few more phonetic pronunciations. And then the back of the book. So by and large, yes, definitely worth having in my library. I am excited to have this. Um, I was disappointed so much of the early go was taken up to rolling up an Aslan character. I already have that in several other sources. I know that there are a few new things added here for your players, but that could have been kind of handled in the JTAS article, I felt. I didn't feel it should have taken up the page count it did in this book. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. I don't want the same stuff from a different book brought into this book, even with some minor tweaks. It's just not really what I'm looking to spend my money on. That being said, for the Aslan Hierate that I'm going to be incorporating into my game in the Spinward Marches District 268, the planet of Aston, yes, I'm very excited that I have this, and I am going to be using the clan stuff to help these Hierate establish a clan, build up some land, and my players are very excited about working with these guys. So it's really exciting for that. So overall, yes, I think there are a few editorial things that I kind of question, putting the Central Supply Catalog, the weaponry, right in the middle of the skills was an interesting choice to me. I felt that should have just been in a different section. Telling me all the other books I can buy, that's fine, but that could have been in an appendix in the back. And it's just me, and same with all the traveler map references. You know, not every traveler map reference needed to go into the body of the text. A lot of that could have been brought out in the back of the book, because they talk about different codes that are used in traveler map for Aslan Worlds, which is great information to have. But now I have to skip around the book looking for it, whereas if it was in one index and a 1 or 2 page section at the end, then that's all I'd have to look at to find the information for traveler map. So that's just a little comment on, in my opinion, some editorial decisions that a tweak could be made. But I liked that there was little fiction thrown in here, just little bits, little quotes, little historical references. I think overall this is a really well done book, and I am glad to have it in my library. So if you are looking for Aslan in your campaign, as I am, then this is definitely a good book for you to add to your library. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends, still growing the channel. Also take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. And that's all I've got today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on page 121.